Yeah.
Yeah,
So Nivas, I think you sent me a couple of questions over Telegram. So shall we start with discussing some of them and maybe then check with Supriya if she has any?
yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah.
Whatever is fine. Yeah, I'm not bothered about any of the order. It's fine.
Okay. Okay. So what's the first question would you like to go for?
Once again, let me check. As a business analyst, what are the documents that we need to prepare for a migration project?
Data migration projects?
It's not only data; it's kind of like we should I mean every company will have a legacy
Mm-hmm.
system, right?
Right.
So now you are moving from your legacy system to a digital system. So in this case,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
See, whenever there is a transition project, right, wherein you are sunsetting one of the legacy systems and you have purchased a new system and you are moving over to the other system. Uh, in terms of documents, the documents will be same. You'll write a BRD, you'll write an FSD, and an essential document for transition projects is data mapping kind of a document wherein you'll say which data will move from where to where. Yeah, so that's an additional document, but other than that, all the other documents are same. But what is more important is to understand the type of requirements that you will cater for in a data migration project, right? So the first thing is, what's the approach? There can be very different approaches that the company may take. Some may say that we will leave the existing records in the old system till they kind of outdate, or they live their life, and all the new records will start entering into the new system, in which case there will not be any data migration, there will not be any change. So some companies they keep their legacy system on for some time, and once they fully into the new system, they'll start using the new system, and they just leave the old system as is. That's one approach they can take. Second approach they can take is, I will only bring in the latest, last 2 year records or last 3 year records in the new system, and I will keep all my other records in the old system only, because they are not useful to me anymore. Yeah. So, for example, someone has ordered 2 years back or 3 years back, and you have already delivered the object, and there are no issues pending on it. So, why will you transfer it over? Yeah. Some will say that I'll only transfer over the cases where there is a pending issues, or where there are open tickets. But most of the things you may not want to transfer over in the new system. So that's one possibility also. Yeah. So first thing you have to look from data migration into data migration projects is, what is the approach, and whether there is any data migration involved in that project or not. Yeah. So you are moving from legacy to digital system. Are you also going to move the data? Plus, the second thing you will analyze is functionality comparison. What functionalities are available in my old system which are not available in my new system? There will definitely be n number of new functionalities in the new system, right? But what if there are some essential functionalities which are there in your legacy system, which you have kind of created for yourself, which you have implemented in your implementation, but it's not available in the product itself? So there will be certain CRs which you would have put in to the legacy system over a period of, let's say, 10 years, right? So there will be definitely, it will be a functionally rich system. It will have some additional functionalities which your new system may not offer. So the another important aspect of requirements is the gap analysis of what all functions are there which are present in my old system but not in my new system, and I need to raise a CR for it. So transitioning from old system to new system, one thing is gap analysis, wherein you'll say functionality wise gaps, data wise gaps. Maybe I can store certain number of records in the old system, can I also store same number of records in the new system? Plus the data migration approach, whether the data will move from old system to the new system. Those are the two essential bits but document wise it will be the same. Only difference will come in how you are writing the requirements, right? So instead of functional specification document, you may just say, let me create a mapping document because I have to do data migration. Or you will have a combination of functional specification document and data migration document, in which you will say, this is the data in my old system, and then this is the field in the new system. Also, we talked about data migration projects in detail in one of the sessions. The whole session was dedicated to data migration projects. You can easily find it on YouTube, yeah, in the BA Club
Mhm.
channel. So
Yeah,
just
I have seen that. I have seen that. Yeah.
okay, okay, yeah. So that I have explained in detail, what all are the considerations um, in data migration, and how you will write the requirements and what documents you will create. Yeah. So if you can go through it, that will be really helpful to you. Okay.
Sure, Chitra. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Let me take this chance to go around the room and see if others have any questions. I know you have a couple of questions, so I'll come back to you. Okay.
Sure, sure. No problem.
Yeah. Supriya.
Hey, Shipra,
Hi,
thanks for
Supriya.
giving me the opportunity. Hi.
Yeah. Sure.
But if you remember, like, long back, as I said, when we were trying to have one session for BPMN notations and all stuff. So I'm still in India, and I would be a listener today.
Okay.
But I'll definitely post any questions in the Telegram group if I have any.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay, sure. So BPMN notations, I think you can easily find it, good
Yeah.
material online, because it will be
Hmm.
very difficult to talk about them in this call.
I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
plus
yeah.
there are, lot of different diagrams that people create. Some create just simple flow charts, some create process diagrams, some create swim lanes, some create activity diagrams, right? It's all a
Hmm.
variation out there. So it may not be possible to cover that particular topic in this session, because it's more visual rather than
Agreed.
audible. So okay, so
Agreed. Yeah, yeah.
thanks for joining in. Thanks. So feel
No,
free to raise, let me know in case you have any questions on based on the discussions we are having in this session today. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, sure. Thanks.
great. Thanks for joining in today. Chetan.
No, Shipra, I don't have any questions.
Okay, okay. So thanks for joining, Chetan.
Thank you.
Jay.
Hey Chibra, good evening. Thanks for remembering.
Yeah, I was recording the session in the morning, and that's why I remember. But usually I forget. So I'm very poor
Right.
with the names. Even if you have worked with me for 4 or 5 years and you meet me on the road, I won't remember your name. So please forgive me on that. I'm very poor with the names.
No, I'm glad you did. So one of the questions, Shipra, was you are a senior business analyst and you've been assigned to a
Mhm.
project that has just been cleared of a project charter.
Okay.
So what would be a journey as a senior business analyst on that project?
Okay. Um, See, business analyst journey will remain the same, right? Requirements, supporting dev, supporting QC, supporting deployment, supporting UAT, right? So all those things will be there. But if you're starting for a project from the scratch, and you are a senior business analyst, then an additional responsibility comes on your shoulders, and that is to help out, plan out the upcoming release, or plan out the MVP, or plan out the release one, right? And it will not be an easy journey. There will be a lot of hiccups, because nothing has been established yet, right? So it's all in the air. It's all in minds of the people, right? Nothing is out there on paper. When you start for a project, let's say in release 2, then you already have a certain set of backlog, you already have some functionalities implemented, but you don't get that luxury in release 1, right? Or when you are starting from the scratch. So now there are two aspects. One is a lead business analyst aspect, wherein you will define the processes which the team is going to follow going forward. How you are going to interact with the customer. You may end up, creating a RASI matrix wherein you identify who all my stakeholders are, what are their authority levels, what are their interest levels. So, how you are going to communicate on day-to-day basis. Are you going to have regular workshops? Are you going to have two workshops in a week? Are you going to, transact over emails? So whatever you do is going to establish a trend going forward. So as a lead BA, you will have to decide on the trend, what the team is going to follow, what processes are we going to follow. Are we going to create a FSD plus user stories, or are we only going to write user stories? Are we going to showcase the user stories to the customers or not? Right? Some projects go on without showing the user stories to customers, because everything is based on the trust level and the discussions between the two. So one is lead BA responsibilities you will be setting up. Second thing is you will be focusing on my backlog creation and sprint wise story creation. So you will be the one who will be deciding on the user story titles that will go in. So you will discuss on requirements later in the day, right? But at least what all is the scope of the project, that is what you will be included in. That is what you will be defining. Am I going to deliver 100% functionalities in one go? Am I going to deliver more critical functionalities as MVP in the first release, and will cater for other things in the second release? What all my critical items are, what all my deliveries are. So you will be deciding on the back, you will be included in the backlog creation, and you will be the one who will be deciding or helping project managers chalk out the scope of the project. In addition to the scope, you will also be defining the assumptions. So what assumptions we are taking for the project, right? So maybe we are assuming that data migration is not part of the current scope. We'll do data migration later on. Yeah. You might be assuming that something is not very important in day one, right? So you have to jot down all those assumptions and share it with the client and get them to agree on those. And accordingly, you will also be defining what all the exclusions are. What are the things that your project is not going to cater for? So for example, I was working in one of the project wherein we said, we'll implement policy for the client. So there are two entities in any policy administration system. One is court and other is policy. So court was already there with the client, and we said we'll implement policy for the client. And we clearly stated anything related to court is out of scope. So when we were implementing policy, we identified a lot of gaps which could have, which are there in the court system and with the court. But we didn't fill on those gaps. We didn't wrote any stories to fill up those gaps. And whatever we did it in policy only, because we said court is out of scope. So you will be deciding on what is going to be out of scope and what are the things that you are not going to cater for. You have to share those things with the client and get them to agree on it, right? So there is a project initiation document that gets created in the planning phase, wherein, or you can call it statement of work, or you can call it a product definition document, whatever you want to call it, right? So whenever a project starts, you will be working on that document, which will clearly chalk out what is in scope, what are the assumptions, what is out of scope. So that's one of the main things that you will be doing. The third thing that you will be doing, right? So first thing is lead BA is setting up the trend. Second thing is defining the scope, assumptions and exclusions, and helping out in the planning, creation of backlog. The third thing that you will be doing is giving demos to the customer. Customer has not seen your system, customer has not seen the product. So two things can happen here, right? One thing is they are implementing a product, the product is already there, and they're you're doing an implementation for the client. So you already have an established system to showcase to the client. So you will be giving a lot of demos, you will be answering a lot of client queries, how this works, how that work, how this business scenario will fit in your system. Can you, I'm giving you this document, can you make an entry in your system? What will happen if this happens? What will happen if that happens? So client will have a lot of queries. So you will be involved in multiple demos to the client. You will be heavily involved in answering to the client queries. You will be telling them the system limitations. You will be telling them the technical constraints. You will be telling them the functionalities which are available in the system. You will be telling them the workarounds around the business scenarios. You will be telling them, if there's a particular scenario, how your system will cater to it. So that is one option where a product is already there. Second option could be that nothing is there. in that case, you may want to create some process diagrams to tell them your system will do like this will be the workflow. These are the fields that you will be able to do. So you will chalk out all the data fields. You will chalk out all the screen designs, wireframes. To establish or give a visual idea to the client what is going to happen, and accordingly you will write the stories, right? Or you will give them a list of story titles that you are going to cater for. So somehow you will have to get client to understand what's going to happen over a period of next few months or few years. Yeah, so those are the three essential things which I think are important for a senior business analyst when they get involved from day one. Make sense?
With you, Shipra. Thank you.
Okay, great question, Jay. There was a session we took some time back wherein we talked about how BA gets involved in planning phase. So again, the video will be available on my YouTube channel, so you can refer to that. It will give you more insights than what we covered today. I think I didn't talk about being involved in demos or uh, being in doing the lead BA activities in that session, but yeah, you can find a lot of other information in that session. Yeah, I think it's there in the
Sure.
BA roles playlist.
But Shubhra, when the project managers and the business sponsors, when they are crafting out the project,
Mhm.
and if a BA understands that what is being crafted is really not how the system would, for example, from an insurance
Mhm.
standpoint, the project manager who doesn't have the domain understanding, or the sponsor who doesn't have the domain understanding, or the system understanding, they're trying to introduce a feature which the BA now understands just from the fundamentals
Mhm.
of it, that this might not be feasible.
Mhm.
How can he give his input? I mean, will his inputs be taken? Will that not really create a conflict between now that the project has not even started? So how does it work?
See, as a BA, you have to tell them what's correct and what's right and what's wrong, right? So many project managers do not understand the technicalities of it or the intricacies of it, uh, right? So BA they definitely involve a senior BA in the planning phase, wherein you will be closely working with the project manager, as I mentioned, to define the scope, assumptions, and all, right? So if project manager or if client is saying, I want this feature, then as a BA, you have to tell them that, this feature is not available out of the box. So we, again, two things, right? One thing is feature is doable, but it's not available. In that case, you will tell them the truth, saying that, the feature is not available. So what will happen is we will develop this, we'll take this back to the product team may say that they are going to do this feature in product, in which case we will have to wait for product to give us the feature back, and then only we can implement this feature for you. Second option is we'll take it back to the product, and product says, I'm not going to do this, or it's very client specific, I'm not going to include it in product. Then in which case we will have to see how we can implement it for you in implementation only, because some product teams does bar implementation teams from doing code changes. So you will have to take a call accordingly, right? Other thing is, it's not technically feasible to do something, or it's too big a work, right? So you have to tell them, first of all, why will you suggest that it's not technically possible, right? So you'll tell them that I think that we will have technical challenges in implementing this particular requirement. So let's take a feedback from the technical architect of the project, and that technical architect will second you and say that, yeah, it's not possible, and then a project manager will have to listen to both of you. Yeah, if
Sure,
yeah.
sure. Shibra, feature is doable but not available. Would you want to elaborate, please?
Yeah, so lot many times client asks for something which is currently not available in the product or out of the box system, right? um, what will be a good example? So for example, if I'm making if I'm ordering something on a website like Amazon or Flipkart, yeah, and if I have made the payment, I want an SMS notification on my phone. saying that you have made a payment of so and so, and this is the order number. Right now, I'm only getting an email, but that SMS option is not there right now, for example. Yeah. So that's a client requirement which is not available out of the box. So what will happen in that case? You will, go back to the uh, website vendor, and you will tell them that, this is a request from the client, and can you give me something so that I can send out an SMS in addition to an email too. Yeah. So then you will have to wait for the product team. They will either say, okay, yeah, this sounds like a good feature. Let us develop it in product. In which case, they'll give you the functionality to to send an SMS. They will only give you the functionality, and in implementation, then you will say, okay, the SMS will go to so and so person. The SMS will go with so and so details, right? So the product will give you the functionality or the configuration, and then you will implement it for the client. So that's one option. Second option is they will be like, yeah, we know that SMS will be a good thing to do, but we are already sending email. Why should we send an additional SMS? Not many people read the SMS, right? So we don't want to do this in product. Then you will go back to your technical team and say, product is not giving me this feature. Can we do something to give this feature to our client in implementation only? Again, they can say yes or they can say no. So whatever is the output, you take it back to the client and say, sir, this is not doable at all. Or you will say, this is doable, but it is going to take time. So let's not prioritize it. Let's take it up later and, first focus on setting up the system. You will be getting an email anyways. So there's already a workaround available, so you'll convince to your client saying that let's not include it in release 1 itself. Yeah. And at the same time, you keep project manager informed of all these conversations, or what's happening, what's not. Yeah.
Sure, Shipra. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, another great question. Thanks, Jay, for asking. Ravi, I can see you are in a listener. If you have any questions, feel free to join me on stage. I'm sending you a request. Please accept the request and join us on stage, and we can take up any questions that you may have. Nivas,
Yeah, Shikha, I'm here.
yeah, back to you.
Okay. Um, there was this one particular question regarding the backlog, like who's responsible for the backlog, and what is the BA role in the backlog sessions. So is it the BA who is driving that backlog session, or is it will be the Scrum Master? So I have a small doubt on this, but in my organization,
Yeah. See, backlog. I'm 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 not remembering what exactly the Agile or the Scrum says, right? But
and
hello.
yeah,
Yeah.
please.
So
Yeah, I'm able to hear
okay.
you.
So I'm not suggesting what Scrum says or what Agile says. I'm telling my own personal understanding here, right? So backlog, I think, is a shared entity. So what is backlog first? Backlog is something that we are saying we will not do it currently, but we will do it in future, right? So a project manager may identify something. So when they are planning out the project, they may identify some new features or new integrations or new requirements which the client is asking for, and they are saying, this is out of scope right now. So what they can do is project manager can include that item as a backlog item and say, it's there in my system for it will help me come back to it, and it will help me track whatever a client has requested later on. So let me add an item to the backlog. So project manager can very well add an item to the backlog. Same goes for BA. So when you are discussing something with the client, so in with client want 10 things, and you're saying, we are going to deliver 8 things out of 10 right now. 2 things is something that we have product dependencies or technical challenges, and or we need more time. Even sometimes client says, I need more time to chalk it out, how I want it, so on and so forth. So in that case, those 2 things will move to backlog. Those 8 things will go to your sprint backlogs, or in the current release. So during your discussions, lot many things will come up. Even project manager may not be aware of those things or those decisions that you have taken to not do something, right? So again, either you are not doing it at all in future, then there is no need to create a backlog item. If there is something that you are saying, I will do it for you, we will do it for you, but not right now, we'll come back to it in future, then it's a backlog item and BA can add to it. Same goes for dev. When dev develops something, they sometimes take a workaround, or they sometimes take a faster way rather than doing the things in the correct way. So they create a technical depth on themselves, because they take shortcuts to meet the delivery timelines. So if they are creating technical depths, or if they are creating some things that they are leaving behind intentionally, then they do is they add new tasks, or they add new technical stories, or some bugs also, they add, keep them in. So they move those items into the backlog and say that I'm aware that this is not something I'm doing right now, I will do it later on, and let me move it to backlog for future consideration. Yeah, so that's dev can add to it. Same goes for QC also. So when QC is identifying or testing out the system, they come across some recommendations. They think that we can do things better from usability point of view. Why I have to click 5 things? Can I not just click on one thing and it will directly take me to the next page or whatever, right? So QC also recommend some things. They are not bugs, they are just pure recommendations from their experience on the system, right? So they sometimes add those recommendations to the backlog, so that in future BA can look at those and see if any of those recommendations make sense for them. So we can have a PO who can add items from market research and all, right? So they are doing market research, they are understanding, okay, this particular company is giving this feature which could have very well be added into my product. So they might add things into the backlog. So backlog is not something that one person will create. Backlog is something that everyone will create. Now comes sprint backlog. That's the product backlog or project backlog, what I talked about, right? So when you are working on a particular sprint, when you are saying that this particular item I am going to deliver in this in the current release, and you are saying, okay, this item will go in sprint 1, this item will go in sprint 2, this item will go in sprint 3, and so on and so forth. So if you're working on items on the sprint items, then BA will first of all draft the story, then PO will review it, or provide additional inputs to it, and then BA will groom it with dev team and QC team, which will who will again provide their inputs. So again, even the story drafting ideally should include opinions from each and every person, right? So BA, dev, QC, PO, client, everyone inputs into even in a sprint backlog. But onus will be on the BA to ensure that it is up to date at all times, or is latest and it has the correct information. But contribution will come from each and everyone. So I always see backlog as a joint responsibility of the team. It is not like only PO will be responsible or only BA will be responsible. Anyone can create an item which can be a part of a backlog. Yeah. So again, do not think that backlog comprises only of user stories. Backlog contains bugs. Backlog contains technical depth items. It contains technical tasks, each and everything, even some outstanding project deliveries. So project manager can say, I have to deliver user guide. Let me create a task. That could very well be a backlog item. I'm not going to give user guide right now. I'm going to give user guide later on, right? Or they might assign this user guide to some technical writer kind of a person. So anything can go into backlog. It's not only user stories. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
I didn't see it in a way, it's a combination of the whole team. They will be responsible for that. We were like answering like BA and the product will be there. They'll be doing the changes.
Yeah, because
Because
whenever someone say backlog, right, the common perception is backlog is user stories, user story backlog. No one thinks, or not many things that backlog can comprise of tasks, it can comprise of bugs, it can comprise of recommendations, it can comprise of technical depth items. So uh, ideally, a backlog comprises of lot many things. Yeah, even user guide creation, document creation can be a part of backlog.
Okay, Shipra.
Yeah, so don't worry, you are not alone. Many people think of backlog in terms of user stories only, and even as some people say that in the interview as well, that backlog only comprises of user stories. So that's a common trick question from the interviewer's side. Can backlog contain bugs? Right, as simple as that. And
Yeah.
the person is no, they first of all think, and then they're like, no, backlog is user stories only, and that's a wrong answer there. So
Yeah, there was another interviewer who asked me, "Do you think a business analyst should be in a daily stand-up call?"
okay, yes, stand up. What's the objective of a stand up call? Stand up call is there of what I'm going to work on today. Are there any blockers which I am facing, right? And what can be done to remove those blockers? So stand up calls are usually conducted by project managers or scrum masters to identify what uh, are we on track of the planned deliveries, and if not, what is blocking us, and how best we can remove those blockers, right? So even BA can have blockers, or BA may have a potential to remove the blockers which the dev team or QC team is facing. If BA is not there, then who is going to report BA blockers, or who is going to remove dev or QC blockers, right? So BA needs to be there in the stand-up calls or the scrum meetings, or daily scrums. So BA should be part of those things. So for example, dev is saying that I need some information from BA. So if BA is there in the call, project manager can then and there ask BA, okay, can you prioritize this work, and can you quickly get this information uh, to the developer? And then BA may say, oh, I have already requested this information from the client, can you follow up with the client? Right, so then it becomes it changes from a BA task to a PM task to follow up with the client and get the information answered. Yeah. So if BA is not there, then what will happen is PM will know, okay, dev has sent out a query. PM will then reach out to BA and say, dev has sent you the query. Can you, respond to that? Then BA will say, I have already, drafted an email, or I didn't understand. Can you, then, I'll reach out to technical team members. So there is lot of time wastage there, right? Because
Yeah,
people are trying to reach out to each and everyone. So the idea of daily scrums is to have everyone, in a single room and sort out the things then and there, rather than wasting time of, connecting with different people at different times.
right. That the guy who interviewed me, he asked me that we do have Jira, we do have Confluence, we know like where the people are working, and still, why do you want to be in the stand-up? I gave the same answer like what you said. Like
Mm-hmm.
we are here for supporting the project, so we might help the developers in clearing the blockers, and we might have a job for them
Yeah.
if they don't have any task.
If if interviewer is saying we have Jira or we have Confluence to track everything, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So why do we need to have the call in the first place? So the answer to that is, let's be practical. People do not work unless they are asked to do work. If you are expecting people to look into the system and keep the system up to date at all times, it may not happen, right? It's not see, practical, we have to think practically, right? Not ideally. Ideally, yes, ideally everyone should update the system at all times, and um, no one needs to connect with each other, and everyone can work in silos, but that's not how things move forward, right? If team is not updating the system, what will you do? If the BA is not looking into the system, BA is busy with lot many things. BA is working on the deliveries for the next sprint, so how BA will know that this is a priority for me, right? So ideally yes, but practically it's not how things work.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else have any other questions, or can I ask one
Yeah,
more?
let's take a quick check. Yeah, so others have also joined in. Neil,
Yeah, hi Shifra and hi all.
hi.
Hi. Okay, coming to your point, okay, partially agree over there because what happens ki regarding the stand-up call. So what we have in our current scenario. So normally what they have done key, we have the stand-up call of the BAs on a different scale. We have the stand-up call on the developers on a different over there. So normally, current earlier we were having a joint stand-up call where each and every Jira was about to discuss, user story was discussed, and we jointly come into some conclusion. Okay, how much time it would be taken up? We jointly draw up some plan and give us to the Scrum Master. But currently, we have that particular thing right now. Something about the process oriented, as a developer might be working on some other task or some technical task or technical jiras or something like that. So what the Scrum Master is indicating, okay, now the BA, what he shall be doing, because currently he don't have the developers bandwidth. So he might be the Scrum Master takes one chance over there. He okay. Currently, whatever the requirement sign off he gets from the user, so he can be just loading that in the particular Jira. So as and when the developer gets the bandwidth, then they can take up the Jira on the basis of the priority. So currently we are running over there because of the some less bandwidth of the developer and the less projects over there. So the things 24/25, I guess, for all the organizations is running on a slow mode. Yeah, Shipra.
Yeah. So again, the circumstances for different projects differ, right? So as you mentioned, rightly mentioned, something may work in one team, something may not work in same thing may not work in another team. So yeah, so that was a nice insight. Thanks, Neil, for sharing that. Jay, anything else from your side? Jay? Okay. Yeah, Nivas, back to you.
Shipra, this is one question that I just want to check with you since you are in the like insurance domain. Okay, so I recently got into a project where they are asking us to do risk analysis for the projects which was already in the prod. It's like reverse engineering. We are going back to that same project and we are trying to identify what are the things have been getting captured or what are the things are missing with respect to uh, the risk analysis and the evaluation. So I'm not sure whether this comes under the like business analyst work or is it like something else. I'm not sure, but I just want to check with you on this.
Uh, okay. So, what was the objective of this exercise? Or what risk they were thinking that the product offers?
It's kind of some kind of I mean they are having some set of the controls like or some set of like rules that's needs to be in the product. So if they are just checking it out from an Excel sheet, whether this particular requirement has this security items just covered or like something like that. So I just joined like in like last week only. So when I see that, and it's full of only like documentation work. If you need any other info, you need to have a word with the guy who have worked on that particular product. The problem is the the product has been in live for more than 5 to 6 years. So the resource were for like for some of the products they are there, and for like some of the products nobody was there. But even I am trying to understand like what they are trying to achieve here.
Yeah, because risk analysis is a very broad term, right?
Mhm.
You need to define what is risk. Then only you can analyze it. So See, there can be a couple of things here, right? So one thing is you took the word reverse engineering, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what usually happens in reverse engineering kind of projects is that you have a system, as you mentioned, it's on for a long time, but
Mm-hmm.
there is no documentation to refer to. So if someone wants to understand whether I can do something in the system or not, or what are the functionalities available in the system, or whether I can capture a particular piece of information in the system, the data fields and all. So sometimes BAs are asked to reverse engineering the existing product and create documents out of it. So you try to create for example, business rules. So lot many times there is not a single document which list out all the business rules or all the validations which are available in the system. So BA is asked
Right.
to play around in the system and create a business rule document out of an existing system, right? So that's a reverse engineering kind of project wherein, so ideally you should have a data dictionary and you should create a project or product out of the data dictionary. But what happens in reverse engineering project is you have a system and you look into the system and create a data dictionary for the client or create a user guide for the client, right? So those kind of wherein you are doing the documentation of an existing system, that's a reverse engineering project. So when you're saying risk analysis, I am assuming that's not a reverse engineering project sort of a thing. That's something else.
No, like why I mentioned like reverse engineering is risk is something which we will try to identify in the initial phase of the project. Correct. When we are doing the analysis, the very first thing we will go and look out for is if there is any risk or if there is any kind of like dependency from other teams or from any kind of software. So here the product is already there and it has been successfully live for more than 5 years, and still people were saying, let's go back and see how the risk items are getting this captured. So, but it looks like they are just trying to see whether this particular documents are there or it is not there, or do we need to find someone to get this info. But
But
yes, as
again,
per you said, it's not like what you have mentioned.
see, risk is against a project, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you have to deliver something in, let's say, 6 months period of time, and you identify upfront what could go wrong, so that you can put a plan in place upfront, right?
Correct.
So, for
Correct.
example, during UAT, my UAT is falling into Christmas period, and I may not have a people availability to do UAT. So that is one risk that is identified at the start of the project. UAT has not started, even the development has not started, but you are
Mhm.
identifying at the start of the project itself that my UAT period is falling into Christmas holiday period. Yeah, and I may face challenge with the client availability. Then as a backup plan, either you move your dates around and say that take try to take out UAT out of that period somehow, or maybe take up more items in so that your development period increases and then you start UAT 1 month afterwards, something like that. Or check with the client whether someone will be available, so you can ask to the client, make sure that at least 5 people are available to do UAT during this period, and then client will check it out or let you know. So that risk is for something that you have to deliver. If something has already been delivered, what is the risk there, right? That is one thing. When you are doing risk analysis, can they be referring to the risk records that are getting created in the policy administration system, or are they can they are they thinking on those lines? Can, are they asking you to analyze the record creation in the system and see if there are any functionalities which are not available in the system, or something like that? I'm not sure.
No, no, it's not. It's not like that. They are want us to check on the like solution document and the other documents prepared by by the solution architect or by the developers.
But
It's kind
again,
of a
what's the
it's kind of
objective?
a data entry job. You're trying to get the info. It was like already there, but in a very different place. You need to have a communicate with some people, and you get the info and you just fill that Excel sheet. Uh,
No,
and within
what's
that,
the
the
objective?
job gets to. Sorry,
What's the objective? What are they trying to achieve?
that's what that I'm not sure. I joined,
Then question
a
that.
week back only. I'm just trying to get all these questions to them.
Yeah. So
Uh, yeah,
sometimes, you know, project managers, I should not be saying the one saying that, but sometimes project managers think, we have got a resource, let's keep him or her busy and let's, give them some work. Yeah.
I
So,
have the same thought. I have the same thought because it's a very big organization, and I mean, why I'm saying big, this is a like service-based organization. So we have lots of like people in the pool. Okay,
Mhm.
so I was thinking like, okay, they are trying to put me in a place to try to at least share him some job or something like that. But when I look into the list of whole people that I'm working with, all of them are the like senior business analysts,
Mhm.
like business consultants. But I was like, yeah, at the time only I just thought, okay, this is like something else. We need to know like why they are like
See, in that
people
case,
who have 12 plus years of experience, 13 plus years of experience as a business analyst. They are there. They are
mhm.
working on this.
Yeah. So again, you have to understand the objective and the deliverables that you are going to deliver, right? It is also
Mhm.
possible that they may have allocated this exercise to you so that you can, have a better understanding of the system. Sometimes lead BAs, give such kind of a work to junior BA, saying that, go and make a data entry so that you get well versed with the system, how the system functionalities work. You get familiarized with the UI. It's kind of a hands-on exercise that they might have given you. So you have to understand, is it a hands-on exercise? Are they expecting you to run through different scenarios in the system so that you get familiarized with the system, so that in future then there are any queries or any new CRs, you need not ask other people how the system works at that point in time, right? So sometimes in order to make you ready, they give you this kind of a job where data entry kind of a job. If that's the objective, you should be clear on that. If that's not the objective, then you should be very clear on what you are going to deliver. Are you going to deliver them a list of documents which are currently not available, or are you going to give them a business rule document, all the business rules available in the system, or are you going to give them a data dictionary out of the system, or are you going to create a functional specification document wherein you are going to list down all the functionalities of the system, right? They cannot just give you a random task without any deliverable. If they are asking you, these are the scenarios, enter them in the system, are they expecting you to say that, yes, I was able to enter this scenario in the system, here is the policy reference, or no, I was not able to enter this scenario in the system, right? So you have to understand what is the deliverable out of this exercise, right? They cannot just say, list me the risks. What kind of risks, right? How you will identify risks. So all those sort of questions you have to be very clear on. Otherwise, you'll end up, spending lot of effort and lot of time on something which you do not have clarity on. And in the end, they will say you didn't make a delivery. Yeah. How will you deliver if you don't have a clarity on the delivery? So understand what is the delivery out of this exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, we see.
So reach out to your senior BAs and ask them, I'm okay to do this exercise, but what's the objective? Is the objective is to, me to do a hands-on on the system, or are you looking for some information from the system? Maybe they are
I
looking for what all kind of contracts clients are adding in, or, some, it could be a project, a product scope, task. So you have to understand, where this request originated from, who started this thread of conversation and what they
Mhm.
had in mind.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neil, you have any pointers?
Yeah, just adding to your point, actually that would also depend upon the situation, case scenario, what is the scope of work he is being engaged into. So currently, actually, we were also being given a such task over there, where we need to just find out from the existing, from the production, either of the swaps or the forex or the any of the data derivatives data, what shall be the control. Control means if suppose the from the upstream, if we receive the file, but one of the attributes or the two attributes doesn't comes in over there, the value doesn't comes in, so that file runs into an exceptional error. So that type of controls that we need to just plug in over there, and we need to give up a report over there. Okay, the production support team needs to have such controls over there in place, that they need to have such validation, so that no such exception flow over there. So means basically it depends upon scenario to scenario, what is the scope of work that can be moved ahead. So what is being given. So might be, as Shipra suggested, it might be a base learning of for the training type of work, that you can just put up a data entry from starting of the entry into the system to the last of the report output over there. So you get one-to-one knowledge over there. So the basics actually they might have in their mind might differ, because they are the experienced guys, and they have something in their mind. They won't be leaving the resource like that to do R&D over there. So they might have given the task over there, so that you get into a granular level details into the DB, or particularly the data files you are having, and move ahead over there. So depends upon task to task. Yes, Shipra.
Thanks, Steve. That helps.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we are very close to our closing time. Any last minute questions, or if there are more questions, Nivas, maybe we can set up another call next week.
Yes, sure, Chitra. I don't have any questions. Meanwhile, I try to find out what I'm working on. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any last minute questions from your side, Neil?
Nothing. Just wanted to ask the same scenario what I specified over there. Currently, we are having two Scrum Masters call. One is the BA Scrum Master call, and the another is the Developer Scrum Master call. So, is it the such practice prevails in the other organization also, or is that something better that can be realized? Because currently we have the some MRA guidelines also be in place that looks after the Jira accuracy over there, the detailing of the particular requirement and all such things. So means there are into various processes. Means currently all the organizations are basically running into each and every process oriented. So do any organization have such thing like that? The Scrum Masters split up the two resources, like the BA differently and the developer differently?
Yeah, it does vary, Neil. Depends on the Scrum Master, how comfortable he is. So sometimes what happens is, people keep stand-up calls, but then they start going into technical discussions on those calls. Those are more like telling the technical lead what technical challenges people are facing, and they end up wasting BA time over there. Right. So sometimes BA themselves say, why I am required in this call, you are just taking in updates, right? So those are not actual blocker kind of stand-up calls. So uh, stand-up calls are kind of misused, right? They are supposed to be talking about what blockers we have, and if more discussions are required around those blockers, wherein Scrum Master wants to understand what the blocker is and who can sort it out and other things, right? They are supposed to take those discussions out of the stand-up call. The stand-up call is just supposed to be just a 15 minutes maximum call. It should be between 10 to 15
Correct.
minutes, where people are just telling them what they are busy with, what deliveries they are going to make today, and are there any blockers. So what I worked on yesterday, what I will be working on today, and if I'm facing some challenges. Those are the only three things which every person in the room should talk about. And if something is there that needs more than that discussion, it needs to be in another call. But people usually don't do that. They use stand-up calls to start talking about all the Jira items in detail. Okay, I did this, I did that, and this is what I did, and they start explaining what they did. So,
Correct.
that's why that's at that if that's the case, right? If people are not uh, well aware of what they're supposed to do in the stand-up call, and if a lot of time they are wasting of each other, right? So let's say my team has four BAs. All the four BAs are there in the stand-up call, and the stand-up call is going on and on and on about technical discussions for 1 hour, right? So 4 hours BA time was totally wasted there. So
Correct.
sometimes,
Correct. I got that point. Yeah.
yeah, so
So
sometimes
means
BA lead or Scrum
the
Master split out the BA team and dev team to save on time of people. And that's not a wrong practice. That's indeed sometimes beneficial practice. Sometimes even I have requested, do not call every BA of my team on a call, right? If 8 people are working in my team on a single project and 8 people are standing up, doing nothing in a stand-up call there, I'm at a loss of 8 hours in a
Yeah, I
in 1
correct.
hour,
I
right?
agree on that part. Correct,
So
correct.
yeah, so
Because
sometimes I've requested, I'll
each
yeah
resource will be just joining the call and do nothing for that particular 1 hour or something like that. But
yeah yeah.
normally, correct. It's a wastage of time for the teams. Normally, it is better that we have the status over there, 1-to-1 over there, and just complete it out.
Yeah, so sometimes what I do is I keep separate calls with my team. Yeah, all
Hmm.
8 BAs report into me, and then I go and join the Scrum call, right? So I end up saving 8 hours of BA time, and,
Correct,
and
correct.
7 hours of time because my my time will go there. But at least I can give the status update and I can tell what deliveries we are going to make. So not everyone is needed in a call, right? But I've seen many people, many project managers, right? I'm not sure what goes on in their mind, but they call
Hmm.
each and every team member into each and every call, and they are like, let's all sit together and do work. They don't
Hmm.
realize it's a wastage of time, right? So
Yeah, but I guess it's a regular practice in the MNC organization, so they follow that practice.
yeah, because
कि-
somewhere in a project manager's mind, it goes that if everyone is present in a room, then they are contributing, right? Or
Correct, correct.
they are
Hmm.
present. But with COVID, the times are now different, right? People will join the call and they just they don't even go in a listening mode, right? This at least I sometimes it happens with me that I go in a kitchen and start cooking because I know I'm not required in the call, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. The technical discussions, the developer discussions
yeah,
make
I
more
just
of
keep
the
an
time.
eye. I just keep an ear out that if someone takes my name, I'll pitch in. But
Hmm.
I am not required there. So I do not want my team to go into those calls. Just to give status updates to the project managers. I can very well do that, right? Let them connect to the client in those times and get the requirements out. That's more better than standing there just doing nothing. So
So normally, what is the best time to have the Scrum call? 10, 11, 12?
9.
Or
I'll tell you what,
Just-
right? So when COVID started, the I,
no, no, after the COVID, the people started working, going to the office. Na, I
no,
think so, thrice a week or
yeah,
something like
no.
that.
So I'm telling you my personal experience. When the COVID started,
Hmm.
it started all of a sudden, right? One day,
Hmm.
actually I was on a leave, so I
Hmm.
had a trip planned. So I went on leave, and when I came back from leave, I realized I'm not going to office anymore. So
Hmm.
all of my stuff was left out in the office itself, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
I started working, all of a sudden. So what this project manager did was at 9 o'clock he started the call. He says, I'm having a scrum at 9 a.m. and everyone was grumpy about it. Why 9 a.m. right? So but what happened was that because 9 a.m. he was having the call, people started working after 9 a.m. and 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Hmm.
People started working after that. But I have realized that if you are having call at 10 a.m., the stand-up call is at 10 a.m., you start working at 10. If you are having stand-up call at 11 a.m., you start working at 11, right? So
Okay, okay.
that's the journal thing I have personally, faced or felt. So 9 a.m. is the best time to have a call because people will then start working at 10, at 9. But what will happen is you will get cursed from the team, right? Everyone will be like, why this manager is very surreal and, he's not
Yeah,
people
yeah.
friendly. So 10 is also an
10 is
acceptable
the
time.
acceptable time. 10 or
Yeah.
11, either of
Yeah.
that. Correct.
11 is bit late, right? Because if you're having stand up at 11, you'll close the stand up at 11:15, 11:20, 11:30. And then the people will start working. Then either what will happen is they'll stand, every person works for 8 hours, right? Not more than that,
Hmm.
not less than that. So
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
start working at 11:30, what they will do is they'll end up spending time at 7, they'll end up closing at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then somewhere in their mind, they will feel that I'm overworking, right? Actually, they are not. But
Hmm.
they start feeling I'm overwhelmed, I'm spending extra hours. 6 o'clock is my office overtime, but I'm spending extra hours and I'm doing something for the project, and they start feeling that they're doing some charity. But actually they are not. They're just doing their work, and just because they started late, they are ending up late. So I always tell my team, start on time and on time.
Correct.
So
Correct.
so have a call at 10 a.m. So that by 5 or 6, even if you're extending 6:30 maximum, you are done with your work, right? And
Yeah.
people are not able to. So no one can work more than 8 hours, right? One day you will do, 2 days you will do, sometimes you will do, 1 month you will do, but it's not sustainable in a long run. So have a practice of doing 8 hours work every day, but be sincere in those 8 hours. Do not take up your phone and start navigating through your WhatsApp messages in those 8 hours, or do not start browsing. If you're concentratedly doing 8 hours of job, you will finish your job in 8 hours. You don't need more time than that. Because whatever estimates you have given, you have estimated based on those 8 hours job, right? Whatever planning you have done, you have planned based on those 8 hours. If you're doing more than 8 hours, that means you are either not focused in those 8 hours, or you started late, or see, practically it is not possible. The person will burnt out after 8 hours. The mind will shut down. Yeah, if you're
Hmm.
concentratedly doing work for 8 hours, you will be your mind will shut down after that. Once in a while, when there is a lot of project urgency, once in a while, or once 1 month in a while, or maybe for one particular project, you may have to stretch for 10 hours, 11 hours even, maybe, right? But humanly it is not possible to do it years after years.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, interesting discussion. So, uh, thanks both of you, and thanks to the listeners also who are listening in right now, and who will listen into the recording later on. So, thanks everyone. I know Jay is trying to, get up here a couple of times. Are you able to join in now, Jay?
Where the stakeholders are giving you a runaround for sign off.
I escalated to my project manager. PM's job is a tough job, right? So it's not my responsibility. I can only send chasers, but project manager will have to remove the blockers. So important stakeholder not signing off on the requirements can be because of two things. One thing is they are not happy with the requirement analysis I have done. In that case, I will, listen into all their queries, all their problems, all their, suggestions, and I'll update it and I'll take it on myself to meet their requirements. Other thing is I have done everything as they have asked. They have even verbally confirmed, but they are not, giving me a formal approval. In that case, what I will do is I'll escalate it to the project manager that we are not getting formal approval. How do you want to proceed on it? I'm not sure, Jay, were you able to listen in or not? If not, please listen in to the recording, yeah? Uh, he seems to be facing some technical challenges. So let's do this. Let's take a break here. Maybe if you send out a request, we can pick up the same topic or some other topic next week, and let's answer to Jay's query in one of the other sessions again. Um, yeah.
Okay, Shipra.
Great stuff. So thanks all. Thanks for joining in today. In case you have more questions which we have not covered so far, or if you were not able to join in, Jay, so please raise a request on the Telegram group, and I'll schedule in another session for you. Yeah. So thanks all. Thanks for your time. Have a happy weekend.
Same to you, Shipra, and same to you all.
Thank you.